You didn't get weak, you got sensitive. Have you noticed that after something happens inside you, nothing else has been the same again? That you don't feel better, but more sensitive, more exposed, more tired, like the whole world is passing through your chest. Perhaps you have wondered, why am I worse now if I woke up? But what if that's not a fall? And yes, expansion without anesthesia. Because when the frequency goes up, the soul begins to feel what was previously blocked. And what you call pain, it may just be your consciousness learning to breathe into a new body. Breathe and stay with me. What you are feeling is not weakness. It's the sign that you've crossed over. Expanded consciousness no longer filters out the collective pain. You begin to feel the world as if it were your own body. Let me tell you something that goes against everything you've heard out there. Entering the fifth dimension is not that spiritual fairy tale that gurus sell. Do you know that promise of eternal peace, constant happiness, perfect life vibrating high? Well, a lie. The truth they hide from you is far cruder. When you truly awaken, when your expanded consciousness finally awakens to the reality beyond the veil, you feel worse, much worse, and it's not because you failed, it's exactly because you got it right. While everyone celebrates love and light on social media, no one has the courage to talk about the inexplicable exhaustion that knocks you down, about the extreme sensitivity that turns any environment into an energetic minefield, about the devastating loneliness of not belonging anywhere else. You have raised your frequency, but your physical body has collapsed. You have awakened spiritually, but you have lost sleep, friends, the will to be in the world. And then comes that question that terrifies you. Did I do something wrong? Wasn't I supposed to be here? The answer will shock you. You are exactly where you should be. All this chaos, this unexplained pain, these symptoms that no doctor can diagnose, all of this has a purpose that goes beyond your current understanding. And if you stay with me for the next few minutes, I'll reveal to you not only why you're feeling this way, but also what to do to get through this dimensional portal without falling apart in the process. Because there is a way, and it goes through precisely this temporary darkness that no one warned you existed. If you are living this now, if you recognized your story in my words, leave an awakening in the comments. Let me know that you are here, conscious, brave enough to face the truth without filters. You know that strange feeling of having done everything right on the spiritual path, but feeling that something has gone terribly wrong? You meditated, raised your frequency, awakened to an expanded consciousness, and suddenly, everything has become heavier, harder, more painful. It's as if you opened a door expecting to find light, but what came was a giant wave of sensations that you didn't expect to face. And then that scary thought hits, did I do something wrong? Wasn't this whole spiritual awakening for me? Let me tell you something that no one has the courage to talk about openly. When you actually enter the fifth dimension, when your vibration begins to align with higher frequencies, you don't necessarily feel better. In fact, a lot of people feel worse, much worse. And it's not because you failed, it's not because you're doing it wrong, but because you're finally doing it right. It's paradoxical, I know, it seems like an absurd contradiction, but think with me, when you clean a deep wound, it hurts more before it heals, doesn't it? What happens is that your energetic sensitivity has been amplified in a way that you never imagined possible. You have become a hypersensitive antenna, picking up everything around you, and everything includes the dense energies, the collective traumas, the disguised pain of people, the falsehood of environments. Before, you were anesthetized, living on autopilot. Now every social lie hurts you, every empty conversation exhausts you, every toxic environment sucks your energy out like an invisible vampire. And no one warned you that this would be the initial price of ascension, right? No one told you that seeing the truth hidden behind the masks was going to hurt that much. Have you ever noticed how spirituality has become a big Instagram showroom? Everyone posting pictures, meditating on the beach, talking about love and light, promising that when you wake up, you will live in a permanent state of peace and happiness. It is as if the fifth dimension is an eternal spa, where all your problems simply evaporate. Well, that's the biggest lie they sold you. Ascension is not a holiday destination, my friend. It's a complete deconstruction of everything you thought was real. And guess what? Deconstructing hurts like hell. Spiritual influencers show only the end of the process, that enlightened, balanced, vibrationally aligned version. But no one shows the backstage. No one talks about the sleepless nights, the amplified anxiety, the necessary isolation, the feeling of going crazy while your nervous system recalibrates. It's like selling a bodybuilding course, showing only the defined body, but hiding the hours of heavy training, the muscle pain, the sweat, the dropouts. The actual process of spiritual awakening is dirty, confusing, sometimes even frightening. But that doesn't sell, so it's hidden. The truth that no one tells you is that entering 5D while you are still living in a 3D physical body creates enormous friction. Imagine trying to run ultra-modern software on an old computer. It will crash, heat up, cause conflict. That's exactly what happens to you. Your consciousness is already there, expanded, perceiving other layers of reality, but your body, your emotions, your neural structure are still processing this profound transformation. And in the middle of this transition, you feel torn in half, as if you don't fully belong to either world. Remember when you could get into a party, a crowded mall, a crowded work environment, and simply to be there? Now it's not possible anymore, right? It is as if each person around you is a radio turned on at full volume, transmitting emotions, dense thoughts, energies that you pick up unintentionally. You've developed extreme empathy that doesn't come with an off switch. That coworker who pretends to be fine, you feel her sadness as if it were your own. That friend who smiles out of politeness, his pent-up anger beats in your chest like a wave. This is not imagination. Your energetic sensitivity has been amplified to the point where you pick up frequencies that previously went unnoticed. Think of a simple analogy. Before the spiritual awakening, you saw the world with those weak, half-foggy glasses. You could live, you could work. Suddenly, you put on ultra-modern glasses with very high-definition lenses. At first, the clarity is too brutal. You see every imperfection, every dirt, every detail that you previously ignored. Her eyes hurt, her head throbs, trying to process so much visual information. This is exactly what happens when your expanded consciousness begins to operate. You perceive the lies in the conversations, feel the falsehood in the smiles, capture the density of the environments as if they were gray clouds visible only to you. And there's more. You don't just capture energy from the people close to you. No. Its antenna now catches collective emotional waves, that generalized anxiety that hangs in the air of big cities, the collective fear that spreads on social media, the silent hopelessness of those who have lost the meaning of life. It is a constant spiritual overload. You can be alone at home, but feel a tightness in your chest that is not yours, a sadness that came from who knows where. And then comes that desperate question: how do I turn it off? The answer, my dear, is not to switch off. It is to learn to filter, to protect, to anchor. You wake up tired even though you've slept 8 hours. In fact, sleeping has become a rare luxury. Because when you finally lie down, your mind races, your body vibrates at a strange frequency, and you stay there, between sleep and wakefulness, processing energies you can't even name. The exhaustion is so deep that it seems to come from a different dimension. It's not that physical fatigue of those who worked out hard or worked too hard. It's an existential exhaustion, as if every cell in your body is being reprogrammed and you can feel every adjustment happening. Doctors don't find anything wrong with the tests, but you know that something monumental is going on inside you. The anxiety you feel now is also not common. It comes in unpredictable waves, for no apparent reason. You may be doing something simple like drinking coffee, and suddenly you feel that tightness in your chest, that inexplicable urgency, as if you need to run out of your own body. Its ascension symptoms include dizziness, feeling unrealistic, urgent need to be alone. Do you know why? Your nervous system is recalibrating itself to support high frequencies. It's like when you change countries and the body needs to adapt to the new time zone. Only here the change is dimensional. Your physical body still operates in 3D, but your essence is already transitioning into 5D, and this gap creates temporary internal chaos. And there's something that no one warned you about. You're going to need a lot more rest, a lot more silence, a lot more isolation than before. That social program you loved? Now it seems like an exhausting marathon. That noisy family gathering, it became sensory torture. It's not that you've become antisocial, it's that your vibrational alignment has changed, and staying in low-frequency environments is like a fish trying to breathe out of water. You need to withdraw, protect yourself, create a sacred cocoon where your deep transformation can happen without outside interference. There is a moment in spiritual awakening when you develop a vision that no one asked to have. You begin to see through social masks. That neighbor who greets everyone enthusiastically, you see his spiritual loneliness screaming beneath his smile. That successful person on social media, you feel the existential void she tries to fill with likes and external validation. It's as if you had received emotional X-ray glasses, only you can never take them off again. And the more you see collective pain masquerading as normalcy, the more your heart aches in a way you never thought possible. The hardest part is not just seeing individuals suffering, it's realizing the massive disconnection from humanity. You look around and see millions of people living on autopilot, repeating patterns they don't question, pursuing goals that don't fulfill them, pretending to be okay when they're falling apart inside. And you can no longer participate in this collective theater. Those superficial conversations about futility suffocate you. That empty competition for status disgusts you. That unbridled consumerism as a substitute for happiness saddens you deeply. Your expanded consciousness simply no longer fits into these social boxes. And you know the worst? Once you see it, you can't unsee. There is no back button. You can no longer pretend that everything is fine when it clearly isn't. He can no longer smile politely when he witnesses injustices. He can no longer settle for shallow explanations for deep issues. This compassion that hurts is both your greatest blessing and your greatest burden. Because now you carry not only your own pain, but you feel in your chest the pain of an entire world that has forgotten who you really are. Have you ever noticed that your old friendships just don't make sense anymore? It's not that you've become arrogant or think you're better than anyone else. It's that the high frequency at which you vibrate now has created a natural, almost inevitable distance. Those friends of years with whom you laughed, shared everything, suddenly seem to be speaking a different language. They complain about problems that you can no longer take seriously. They get excited about achievements that sound empty to you, and you stand there smiling politely but feeling a disconnection that hurts your chest. It is not judgment. It is simply that you are no longer in the same vibrational tune. The places you frequented became energy minefields. That bar you loved, now the dense energy of the place suffocates you in minutes. That crowded gym, the competitive ego in the air exhausts you. Even the family home, which is supposed to be a refuge, sometimes feels like an invisible battlefield where you constantly need to protect yourself. And here comes the natural distancing, not forced, but organic. You begin to refuse invitations, to make excuses, to prefer the company of silence. And people don't understand. You've changed, they say in an accusatory tone. And you think, yes, I've changed, and that should be celebrated, not criticized. The loneliness of awakening is peculiar because you feel alone even when you are surrounded by people. It is as if you are transiting between two worlds. You no longer fully belong to the old, but you have not yet completely anchored in the new. You look back and see who you were. Look around and see who people still are. Look forward and see who you are becoming. And in the middle of the road, in this dimensional no man's land, lives a loneliness that very few people can understand. But let me tell you a secret. This temporary loneliness is preparing you for something much bigger. Here's the truth that will change everything for you. This feeling of getting worse isn't decline, it's energetic purification in action. Think of an old house that you decide to renovate completely. Before building the new one, you need to demolish the old one, remove rubble, clean up to the foundation. The process is chaotic, noisy, full of dust and apparent destruction. But it is exactly this temporary mess that allows something solid and beautiful to be lifted into place. It's the same with you. All these layers of social conditioning that you have absorbed since you were a child, all these traumas that you carry, some are not even yours, they came from your ancestors. All these soul contracts that you unknowingly signed, all of this needs to be released. The necessary suffering that you are experiencing now is not punishment, it is deep cleansing. Each anxiety crisis is releasing old fears. Each insomnia is processing cellular memories. Each moment of exhaustion is integrating new frequencies into your physical body. Imagine that you spent years drinking contaminated water without knowing it. When you finally stop drinking and start a detoxification process, your body reacts. Headache, nausea, weakness. It's not because detoxification is bad, but because the body is expelling the accumulated poison. Ascension works like this. The denser your previous vibration was, the more intense the purification will be. And you know what's beautiful about it all? Pain is temporary, but profound transformation is permanent. You don't go back to who you were before, that's impossible. A butterfly does not become a caterpillar again. You may even have momentary relapses, difficult days where it seems that you have regressed, but the change in your expanded consciousness has already happened irreversibly. Every symptom you face today is preparing you to operate at a frequency where most people can't even reach you. And that, my friend, is priceless. Let me explain where you are on this journey, because understanding the map makes the journey easier. The first stage is chaos and deconstruction, and that's probably where you find yourself right now. It's the most brutal phase where everything you knew falls apart. Their beliefs are questioned, their relationships fall apart, their old identity slowly dies. You feel lost, confused, sometimes even desperate. It's like being in the middle of a storm, not knowing when it will pass. At this stage, the symptoms of ascension are at their peak. Energetic sensitivity is on the surface, spiritual overload is constant, and you can barely function in the normal world. But take a deep breath. This phase passes. The second stage is when you begin to learn how to anchor the light into the physical body. Here, the chaos subsides a bit, and you discover practical tools that actually work. You learn that you need to ground every day, literally step on the dirt, feel the grass on your bare feet. Hug a tree, yes, it sounds cliché, but it works. You understand that hydrating is not just drinking water, but drinking with intention, mentalizing that you are purifying your energy field. You set spiritual limits, learn to say no without guilt, create rituals of energetic protection before leaving home. At that stage, you still feel the challenges, but you're no longer adrift. You have a compass. The third stage is the balance between dimensions, and that's where you're going. Here you get to live in 5D while still inhabiting a 3D body. It seems impossible, but it is not. You learn to transition between frequencies as needed. Do you need to solve something practical, bureaucratic? You consciously lower your vibration, do what you need to do, and come back. Do you want to meditate? connect with your essence. You elevate quickly because you already know the way. The sensitivity that was once a curse becomes your greatest superpower. You read people, environments, situations with impressive accuracy. And the best, you finally find your tribe, those souls that vibrate at the same frequency as you. Now let's get to what really matters. What you can do today, right now, to start anchoring this high frequency without disintegrating in the process. First, daily grounding is non-negotiable. Every morning, before you pick up your cell phone, before you dive into the demands of the world, you need to connect with the earth. It can be simple. Stand barefoot on the ground for 5 minutes, visualize roots coming out of your feet and penetrating deep into the earth, or even take a shower, imagining that the water is taking away everything that is not yours. I, particularly, have a morning ritual where I place my hands on the soil in the garden and think, I anchor my light in this body, in this moment, in this plane. It seems silly until you make it and feel the absurd difference. Energy protection is another key pillar that you can't ignore. Before you leave home, visualize a bubble of golden light around you, impenetrable to dense energies, but permeable to love and light. When you are in a heavy environment, take a deep breath and think of this bubble strengthening. And here's something practical that few talk about. Set clear spiritual boundaries. Learn to say no without endless explanations. I can't go to this event is a complete sentence. You don't owe satisfaction to your need for energy preservation. Sacred rest also comes in here. Take at least 1 day a week completely off. No social networks, no commitments, just you and your vibrational alignment process. Connection with nature is pure medicine for the ascending soul. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It could be sitting in a park for 20 minutes, watching the sunset, or simply opening the window and breathing fresh air with mindfulness. And about hydration, drink water with intention. Before each glass, hold it in your hands and mentalize. This water purifies my body, cleanses my energy field, renews my cells. Does it sound too esoteric? There are studies on how intention alters the molecular structure of water. Research on Dr. Masaru Emoto's experiments if you want to understand the science behind it. These simple practices are your daily anchors as you navigate between dimensions. Listen carefully to what I'm going to tell you now, because this can completely change the way you see everything you're experiencing. You're not broken, you are not defective, you have not failed in the spiritual process. You are, in fact, going through exactly what you should be going through. All this intensity, all this pain, all this confusion, it's the unmistakable sign that you're doing it right. You know those high-performance athletes who train until their body screams in pain? They know that muscle soreness means they're growing, getting stronger. It's the same with you, this existential pain, this extreme sensitivity, this deep loneliness. All of this is evidence that you're rebuilding yourself into a much higher version of yourself. The sensitivity you have developed, the one that makes you suffer so much now, is actually your superpower in disguise. Think about it. While most live anesthetized, you feel everything. You pick up on nuances that go unnoticed. You perceive lies that others swallow as truth. You see potentials that others don't even imagine exist. This is not weakness. This is a rare gift that few souls have the courage to carry. You were chosen for this. Not by chance, not by luck, but because your soul knew that you had enough strength to go through this process of deep transformation and come out the other side shining. And there is one thing that needs to be very clear. Not everyone will wake up in this life. Not everyone will face this process. Most will prefer the comfort of unconsciousness, the security of the social matrix, the anesthesia of endless distractions. But you had the courage to take the blindfold off, even though you knew it was going to hurt. You chose the hidden truth instead of the comfortable lie. And that, my friend, puts you on a path of accelerated evolution that will take you to places you can't even imagine yet. If you've come this far, it's not by chance. You recognized your own story in these words. You felt a tightness in your chest as you realized that you are not alone in this crazy journey of spiritual awakening. And you know what? There are thousands of people going through exactly what you're going through right now, feeling that same spiritual loneliness, facing that same energetic overload, questioning whether they will ever make it through this chaos. They need to know that there is a community, that there is understanding, that there is a way through this temporary darkness. So I want to make you an invitation. Share this content with someone you know is suffering in silence, thinking they have gone crazy, feeling that they have failed in the ascension process. It could be that friend who has recently drifted apart, that person you perceive to be going through intense changes, or even someone you don't even know personally, but feel you need that message. And in the comments below, leave a 5D if you identified with this content, if you are living this deep transformation now, if you understood that you are not alone. Because the more we talk openly about the real process, not that made-up and romanticized version, but the raw and liberating truth, the more people can get through this phase without giving up. More souls are able to integrate their expanded consciousness without feeling that they are breaking. More beings of light are able to anchor their high frequency into this dense plane. And that's how together we raise not only our individual vibration, but the collective vibration of this entire planet. So answer me one thing with total honesty. Will you continue to suffer in silence, thinking that you are alone in this? Or will you finally accept that this painful process is temporary and the transformation that comes from it is eternal? Because look, you can stand there lamenting, questioning why you chose this path of spiritual awakening, or you can use each symptom, each crisis, each moment of loneliness as fuel for your evolution. The choice has always been yours, and it continues to be now. I want to know, what are you going to do differently from today? Are you going to start practicing the grounding that I taught you? Will it set those spiritual boundaries that your body has been begging for? Will you stop blaming yourself for feeling too much in a world that feels too little? Or will you continue to try to fit into a frequency that is no longer yours? Think about it. Because every day you put off your vibrational alignment is another day wasted trying to be who you are no longer. And look, if this content made sense to you, if you finally understood that you are not broken but rebuilding, then subscribe to this channel now and activate the notification bell. Why? Because in the next videos, I'm going to teach you advanced anchoring techniques. I'm going to reveal the secrets that only those who have completely crossed this dimensional portal know. I'm going to show you how to turn your sensitivity into real power, but I can only guide you if you let me. So let's go along on this journey. The fifth dimension awaits you, and you are closer than you think.